So welcome back. Like we said last week, we got a big announcement. We finna change the name up on y'all. We finna go from Just Fact Sports to No Cap Sports, cause everything we say, no cap, man. All right. So anyway, like I said, we back episode 6, and to be honest, already 2020 has been a crazy year. Started out with the coronavirus pandemic, and now national justified outrage over the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. So, what are your thoughts on the issue?
My thoughts, honestly, is everywhere when it at this point in 2020, it shouldn't have to be a thought about it at all. It's ridiculous that people are still racist in 2020. Like, if
Yeah,
you're racist in 2020, do you know how racist you got to be? And
exactly.
it's one of them things where when you're a police officer, you know what your job is, you know what it entails.
Yeah,
And when somebody's not resisting, fighting back, first of all, the gun should be the last resort. Like anywhere you're taught, it should be taught that if anything, you can fight.
yeah,
If you get beat up, you lose. You lose. It's whatever, bro. At least you get to live to see another day. But when you kill
exactly,
when you kill somebody on purpose, he got killed on purpose because
exactly, bro.
when the ambulance came, the EMT, the medic showed up. He checked his post and did not tell the police officer to get off of him. Like, that's ridiculous.
Exactly,
And it's just crazy how people are trying to justify. Well, all the facts aren't there, and then it shouldn't have to be any facts, bro. Just get off
exactly.
of him, arrest him, whatever. He didn't even have to be
But
arrested. They claim he wrote a bad check.
exactly, bro. Like for something as simple as a bad check, bro, you basically like cut off the man's circulation for 8 minutes, bro. It doesn't
Yeah,
take 8 minutes to subdue a man, handcuff him, and put him in the back of a car. Like that was so unnecessary. And then like I think it was yesterday, a couple of days ago, another video came out that showed them like literally beating him up before they put him on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And like it's just a ridiculous situation. You know what I'm saying? And like to your point about racism, like I feel like people are just more emboldened to like say these things and like have these opinions because of the person in the White House right now. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
for him to go out and call the protesters thugs, say that when you loot we shoot, calling the NFL players that protested SOBs, like that's a racist sentiment that people who have these feelings are seeing is like, and they seeing him say these things, these people now feel like it's okay for me to show this side of me too. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so I
Eh,
feel like, yeah,
You can go.
uh,
You can finish.
I was gonna say like I just feel like a lot of this problem, like it's a systemic problem. It's not like a one person thing. It's not anything new. Like now people just have access to videos and it's getting spread all over the world, so everybody can see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's just the fact they were saying I seen some people posting like pictures from the civil rights era, and
Yeah.
saying yeah, this is how you should protest. It's like they're only showing the pretty side when they're walking the streets marching together. Those people getting beat up, shot, killed,
Exactly.
arrested. So it's just like the way I see it at this point. It's been almost around 200 years of just being oppressed in this
Yeah.
society, and it's it's one of them things. I'm gonna tell you this story. There was this kid in middle school. He was getting bullied like every week. Dude would take his lunch money, like literally take his lunch money, like
Yeah.
bullying him, and he would bully other kids also. And one day he like got so fed up, he punched that man in his nose. And
Uh.
did the bully take his money anymore? No, he left
No.
him along with the other people. So it's
Yeah.
one of them things. We've been letting y'all take our lunch money all this time, and it's just like now we punching you back in the nose by rioting.
Exactly.
Is that the right thing to do? We don't know because we tried everything else. Violence is the last
Exactly.
resort, and
And
so
like
I
that's
mean,
my
don't get mad just because we're trying to figure out a way to get y'all to respect us.
exactly. And like to your point about the civil rights movement started in 1954, bro, and we still not like all the way equal, all the way free. We're still being oppressed by the same system that we've been living in for like over 200 years when we got brought over to this country. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I just think, like, in order to, like, I have no problem with the looting, any of that, bro. Because when you think about it, like, you just think back in history, like, Boston Tea Party, like, the American Revolution, like, that was a lot of looting, like, destruction of British property, all of that stuff. Think back to France, the French Revolution, when they were rioting in the streets to get freedom from Louis XIV, all of that, like, rioting works because it's like, especially in today's society, it works because it makes people have to focus on the issue. You know what I'm saying? By
Yeah.
rioting and moving like that, you have to come up with a solution because only more destruction is gonna come. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
it's just nothing's gonna change because the president is running the country through Twitter, and the things he is saying is basically saying, I don't care about what y'all talking about. I'm just trying to get y'all up off the streets, and I'm gonna do that
exactly.
anyway. And it's just
And
like run. If you're gonna run the country, run it. So he's doing it like I don't. It's passive aggressiveness because he's doing it through Twitter. He needs to like go out, make a statement. Like any other
exactly,
president would go out to a podium. He's scared. Like don't be scared, bro.
exactly, bro. And the fact that he's blaming it on like, extreme left wingers instead of addressing the problem as is, that's even more concerning, bro. You're trying to blame somebody for you're trying to blame a group of people for the destruction instead of blaming the system for causing all of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's just like police officers. I know, great. Like one of my best friends in high school, his dad was a police officer at the school, and he was a great guy. But it's just like you can't have bad apples in something so important. Just evil people, corrupt people. It's like if you're gonna be a police officer and you that scary, bro, be scary in your own neighborhood.
Exactly.
I mean, but it's whatever. It's not whatever, honestly. I could go on about this for hours.
Me too. But I mean, we're gonna keep talking about it, but we're gonna put a different spin on it. We're gonna just talk about like some of the athletes involved in the protest, and just like how important it is for these athletes to be involved in it. Because a couple of days ago, Michael Jordan even put out a statement about this. And Jordan rarely publicly speaks up on like public issues, and for him to step out in front of this and say something is like, I think it's a really big thing. Shows you how monumental this could potentially be. And then you got guys like Steven Jackson, who basically is taking charge of the George Floyd case because like apparently they were like really close friends, called each other twin and all of that. And so I think it's like important to see these athletes, like especially like white athletes, stepping in front of this and saying, hey, this is a problem, we need to address it.
Yeah. It's, like literally all of this was addressed. Like this specific thing was addressed a few years ago with Colin Kaepernick. And he was blackballed out of the NFL, tried to get back into the league, and nobody would take him just because they were scared of backlash. And I mean, there was a few players around the league, they were also taking knee in the NFL, and they were also like, trading basically for their job. And Colin Kaepernick, he tried to warn people. I mean, he tried to tell people, he begged, he pleaded with people, and they kicked him out of the NFL for having an average NFL season. It wasn't bad at all. It was average. And there's so many average players in the NFL right now that he should have a job in the NFL.
Thank you, bro. And like I think that's where the NFL lacks, like in terms of like social reform and all of that. Like the NBA is steps and bounds better than the NFL in terms of letting their players speak out and like support social issues. Because if you remember in 2014 with the Eric Gardner case, like LeBron, Kobe, a bunch of players around the league wore the I Can't Breathe shirts and warm-ups to, raise awareness for the problem in America. And so like we talked going back to Cap, like 2016 he started kneeling. And in a protest of everything going on in America, the discrimination and the unjust police system. And so like just the fact that he does this action and gets blackballed from the league, because even remember Eric Reed got blackballed for a little minute. He just got back in 2 years ago because he was one of the guys doing it with Cap. And so like the fact that he got blackballed is a serious issue. And then like to spin that off, like you can see like there's a problem with the ownership culture of the NFL. Because if you remember in 2017, the Texans owner, Bob McNair, he had that statement where like players protesting was like inmates running the prison, and it
Yeah.
just shows you like there's a problem in the NFL when it comes to like race and social issues, because like McNair said that in 2017, and in 2018 they came up with the rule about you have to stand for the national anthem, or if you don't, you can be punished. And so basically, they took away the players' right to protest.
The NFL has always been a league where it's almost ran like I hate to use this, it's ran like a plantation. Whereas you do what I say, you do
Yeah,
what your general manager say, and nothing else goes. If you don't do it, we're gonna kick you out, replace you. And it's
exactly.
like your players are not taken care of. All these players, like even with the CT, it's just the NFL. It's amazing to watch, just to watch all the great athletes, but just I don't think they're taken care of the correct way. Like even with their pay, like
Yeah,
NBA players, soccer players, baseball players, they're paid well. NFL makes just as much money as them, but those players are very much so underpaid considering what they do,
yeah,
risking their bodies.
exactly, bro. So, like, my big thing is, like you said, bro. LeBron made the post about Cap. You know what I'm saying? Like to see which knee people would stand up for, and I think that's one of the most, like, the biggest images to come out of this whole thing, because like now you have a clear visual of like here's Cap kneeing for something he stands up for injustice in society, and here's Officer Derek Chauvin kneeing on George Floyd, and people are gonna try to justify that, but won't justify Cap kneeing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it just shows how messed up American society is.
and another thing is just the society we're in. I know people that are upset about Kaepernick taking a knee,
Yeah,
but they would be the first people. Like these are white people. Like I know
yeah,
that was the N word that would say nigga in front of me and think it's all cool. And so it's just
exactly,
one of them things. It's just like, bro, if you really think you could say nigga in front of me, bro, just be prepared for any consequences that come your way, especially when you're upset. Like if you were out here protesting, making a post or something on
yeah,
social media, a post just saying, hey, this isn't right, then it's not fine, honestly. First of all, if you're not black, do not say the N word. Straight up,
thank you.
that's it. Period,
And
point
that's
blank.
period.
And
Because I
it's one of those things where if you imagine if it was your brother or your sister and they got killed or murdered by somebody, you would want justice for them. And
exactly,
so just imagine, all right, now if that's not enough for you, imagine it was your favorite athlete, your favorite
yeah,
musician, your favorite artist that got killed just like that. Well, like what is not clicking with you that we just do not want to be murdered? It takes nothing.
exactly,
Like my friend Gary, I have a Gary, Gary. So Gary,
yeah,
he sent me a text message, and it was this pastor in his city that sent him a text asking him, hey, I'm talking to some kids later on about how to treat like black people, like what are
mm,
ways to like communicate with them, let them know that it's okay to be yourself and all of this. And it's just like you shouldn't have to have a class or a seminar
exactly,
on how to be black, or or a class or seminar how to respect black people. That's ridiculous.
exactly, bro. Just treat each other how you want to be treated, bro. And so to close this little segment out, bro, I just want to throw this fact out there. It's a purebred fact. Michael Vick served more time in jail for killing a dog than all the cops combined who have killed the last 493 unarmed black men. That's the problem in America. That's why they're protesting. That's why they're rioting. So to turn over to something a little bit brighter, show you, I guess not everything's bad in the world right now. the NBA is about to return. It's just getting ready to rev up and get started. Board of Governors are going to meet on Thursday, and they plan to approve Adam Silver's plan to restart the season at Walt Disney World in Orlando. So the format, they're going to bring 22 teams, the top 8 teams in each conference, and plus teams that are 60 games outside of the playoffs. 60 games or less outside of the playoffs. And so, speaking of this, how do you think they should seed the playoffs? Do you think they should keep it conferences, or do you think they should just go best teams with the best 16 records?
I think they should seed it by conference, keep it by conference.
Yeah.
And then, but if it's only top 16, keep it by conference. But if they're going to add those extra couple of teams, then you could just do it outright and then have play-in for a 17 through 22. The 17
Yeah,
you go.
Okay. I was about to say, just like, I think like now is the perfect time to just try it out. You know what I'm saying? Like the season's already been interrupted. You've been talking about just doing best 16 teams go play. So I think it's a good idea to just try out the best 16 teams idea. You know, just roll the ball. You know, just roll the ball out. Let the best 16 play, regardless of conference, whatever. Of course, it's gonna be Western Conference dominant, but you know, it's the best 16 teams in the league, and that's what the people want to see. We haven't seen basketball at all for the past 2-3 months, so we want to see the absolute best. And so I think like it'd be a good idea to just try out that 16 team, best 16, and then I like your idea of just having to play in. If you're gonna have, you know, like what is it gonna be, 6 teams that aren't in the playoffs, have a play-in for them, you know, and let them get a little run to, you know, to spice things up. And so talking about that, with a 22 team playing, you know, you got the top 8 in each conference. And then, like I said, the teams who are 6 games outside the playoffs. And in the West would have 5 teams in it. It'd be New Orleans, Phoenix, Portland, Sacramento, and San Antonio. And the East would only have Washington get in because they're the only team, you know, within 6 games. So assuming that they roll with, you know, just the regular conference seeding, and they have a play-in tournament for the 8th seed, who do you think gets in each conference? Starting with the West.
The West. All right, name the West teams again one more time.
So right now the current 8th seed is the Grizzlies, and the teams that are 6 games or less out: New Orleans, Phoenix, Portland, Sacramento, and San Antonio.
Okay, you can kick out Phoenix, Sacramento, and San Antonio. Are we including the Grizzlies in this or no? Yeah,
because they have to technically play in for the 8th seed too.
After they're already in there?
Which is ridiculous to me because they're 3.5 games up on New Orleans, Phoenix, and Portland, but they still gotta play in.
That's a lot of games, honestly.
Exactly, bro.
That's a lot of games. All right, so if it's a play-in, all right, so the other 3 teams the other 2 teams are Portland and New Orleans. It's a toss-up. I'm going to give the Trailblazers the advantage just because they've been playing the longest.
Time?
I mean, they've been playing together the longest. Honestly, that's the only reason, no other explanation. First of all, if you wasn't hooping at the beginning of the season, that's your fault. So if you don't make the playoffs, you don't make it. And so Zion Williams, he tore his knee up, and he had to figure out a way how to walk. And they had to reteach him how to walk and run. That's their fault. And so, though, that takes away all the Grizzlies' success, honestly. If you just say, nah, you know what? We really want to see them. We really want to see the Pelicans in the playoffs, so we're going to put the Pelicans in the playoffs. Just like that? No.
That's really what I think it is. They just want that money from getting Zion in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not going to lie. He was hooping when he actually played. But, just trying to find a way to get them in when the Grizzlies have been hooping all season and have, like I said, got that 3.5 game lead over the rest of the pack. I just think it's unfair to the Grizzlies.
And that doesn't even matter. 3.5 games, all it takes is one for you to not be in the playoffs. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. 3.5 games, and I want to say they only had 15 games left to play.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's impossible. That's very hard to catch up.
Yeah. If you told them to play 15 games and they caught up those games, then maybe. But that's even ridiculous to have that type of idea.
Exactly. And so, what about the AC in the East?
So
right now,
even close to them?
I was about to. Right now, number 8 is Orlando, and the only team that's within 6 games is Washington. So, who would you pick for that AC in the East, assuming a play?
Unlawful. I mean, he's healthy, but I mean, I doubt he would come back this season.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
So Orlando, they got a nice squad. They got a decent Orlando or the Wizards.
Yeah.
I mean, Brad Beal, he's like second in the league in scoring, huh?
Yeah. That was how I was gonna swing. I was just Brad Beal gonna put Washington on his back, put him on his back and take him to the playoffs.
Brad Beal. I mean, it's Brad Beal, and then who's the second best player on the Wizards?
What's his name?
Look, you gotta think about it, bro. Give me the magic, bro. Give me the magic. Who?
Smith?
Bro, stop.
Bro, what's the shooter, bro? Davis Bertans.
Bro, stop. Give me the magic, bro. Just give me the magic. The magic.
Fair enough. So, talking a little bit more about the return, of course they got to play some regular season games, have a little training camp before they get into the playoffs. So what do you think, like how much time do you think it'll take for teams to get back to, being like game ready? You know what I'm saying?
Game ready, a month.
Yeah, a month? Like you saying like training camp and like a month of playing or like a month training camp to get back right?
You say the games are going to start July 31st. Right now it's June 1st. So maybe start training camp on June 31st. But really you can start it now, just do practices and stuff. They really could have like inter-squad scrimmages, like scrimmage a team that's near you. The Grizzlies can scrimmage the Hawks. The Grizzlies can scrimmage the Pels. Just have scrimmages near each other just to get themselves in playing shape. I mean, but you can never simulate a game, no matter what it is, even if it's a scrimmage like that. But if you do June 31st, once you can start scrimmaging other teams, and then like come around July 31st, have about aim for maybe July 15th is when maybe the playoffs are, or you could just finish out the season, honestly.
Yeah.
To start the playoffs August 1st. July 31st. No, August 31st, excuse me. And then you run into NFL season, so I don't know.
Like the only thing about finishing the season is, like I said, only 22 teams are gonna be going to Orlando, because they're basically gonna like not lock them down, but like keep them contained so that nobody will get exposed to corona or anything like that. And so I agree they need to play some games. I'd probably say like anywhere from that 10 to 15 range before they get going with the actual season. Get going with the playoffs. And so I think you get those 10, 15 games, get your legs back under you, get a little 2-3 week training camp before that to get you back in shape, try to recover some of the chemistry your team has built up, and then, play those 10, 15 games and then jump right into the playoffs. And so with this, like with the interruption and everything for 2 to 3 months, what team do you think this break benefits the most?
In the East, I'm gonna go with the Raptors in the East, in the Eastern Conference.
Ooh, interesting.
Because they're an older team, most of their players are north of 30 already.
Yeah.
And then they already had that chemistry, minus Kawhi from last season.
Yeah.
So it brings them back to being how they need to be. If you have young legs, if everybody on your team's in the 20s, it's not really going to matter. But 30-year-olds, playing around, playing 30, 35 minutes a game, that takes a toll on your body. And now you get 2 months off. almost 3. I mean,
Yeah.
the Raptors they still are a top 3 seed in the NBA. So I see the
Yeah.
Raptors in the East. And in the Western Conference, I'm gonna go with I want to say the Lakers, but for some reason, like my mind is telling me that Utah is going. I lied. No, the Lakers.
Yeah,
like Utah,
yeah.
their chemistry is broken because of Gobert. So I'm gonna go
exactly,
with
bro. All right, so for me, I took a little different look at it. I said, like, in the East, the team that Brady's going to benefit the most is Philadelphia. And I say this because, they just got a bunch of young gunners. They're going to get out in transition. Ben Simmons going to get out in transition. And so, like, just coming in and, just playing a few games and then getting into the playoffs, I think Philadelphia's a team you're going to have to look out for just because, like, they have enough talent to win on any night. So they don't need the chemistry. They don't need any of that. They're just going to beat you, like, just straight off star power, straight talent. And then in the West, I said Houston is going to benefit the most from the break because they have 2 guys who are top 10 in the league in minutes per game, and Harden and Russ. And so, you let these guys get 2 months off, let them come back and get back to hooping. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody knows come playoff time, Harden's tired. He's not hooping like he was in the regular season. So I think this is really going to benefit the Rockets come playoff time.
You really think the 76ers can pick you up and win the finals? Or you just saying that it benefits them the most?
I think they're going to do better in the playoffs than they would if the season never suspended.
All right, if the season never suspended, do you think they get to the conference finals?
Nah. I don't think they make it.
Did they get to the second round?
They was 4th, 5th seed.
They were the 6th seed. They would have played Boston the first round.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Nah, I don't think they make it.
They would play Boston first round. Do you think they would beat Boston?
I don't think they beat Boston. Well, like, if the season never ended, I don't think they beat Boston. But I think with the suspension, I think they have a better chance to beat Boston, assuming, that's the season come playoff time.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you these questions. All right, so if the playoffs were to start today, Milwaukee would play Orlando. Who would you have win?
Milwaukee.
The Bucks?
Easy. Yeah, clean sweep.
Toronto would play Brooklyn with only Kyrie, no KD.
Yeah, give me. We saying, like, if the playoffs started right now?
Yeah, if the playoffs started right now.
You mean Toronto?
Boston plays Philly. You said Boston?
Yeah.
Miami plays the Pacers.
The Pacers. I'm going to take the Pacers.
You going to take the Pacers over Miami?
Yeah. I really like that Pacers team. Like, it's just something.
I like that Heat team, man.
I'm not a Jimmy Butler fan, bro. Jimmy Butler throwing me.
I'm not Jimmy Butler, bro. That team is open. But all right, so Milwaukee or Indiana, who would you take?
Give me Milwaukee. I'll take Milwaukee.
Toronto or Boston?
I'm gonna go Boston.
And how many games?
I say that's a 7 game. That's a 7-game series.
All right, Boston or Milwaukee?
I'm gonna go Boston.
You gonna go Boston? You
Yeah.
have Boston get into the NBA Finals if it started today.
Yeah. Most definitely. I just think, like, I feel like it's a way to stop Giannis. Giannis can be stopped. You stop Giannis, you win the series. I think Boston is the best team in the East in terms of being able to stop Giannis. Point blank. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny, bro. I don't think it's funny. I'm being dead serious right now. I'm being dead serious. I'm not laughing.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so we're going to go to the Western Conference.
All right, say this. Oh, first round, Grizzlies. Next. I'm still not laughing. I don't think anything funny here. Give me Ja.
You gonna be front row with Moneybag, bro?
Oh yeah, with Moneybag and Block. Sitting courtside.
All right, Clippers or Dallas?
Clips.
And how many games?
6. They just got too much talent. Dallas just isn't. They're not ready yet.
Ooh, all right, this is a good one. Denver or Houston?
That is a good one. I'm gonna go Denver though. I'm gonna go Houston though because Gary Harris, he kind of shaky. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go Houston.
All right, Utah or OKC?
I'm gonna go OKC.
Utah is the 4 seed. OKC is the 5 seed.
I'm gonna go OKC. I like what Chris Paul got. I like how Chris Paul got the young boys playing.
Yeah. All right, how many games?
I'm not gonna lie. That's probably a 5-game series.
Okay.
Mike Conley has no rhythm.
OKC or Memphis?
OKC.
And how many games over Memphis? You said 7?
Yeah.
I think Memphis has a better chance to beat OKC than the Lakers.
Nah, OKC was giving Memphis the blues this season, bro.
That doesn't matter, bro. Regardless. All right, I mean, but you know, this is your bracket, bro. This is your bracket.
It is.
All right.
I'm taking OKC.
So, Houston or the Clippers?
I'm gonna go Houston.
And how many games?
That's a 7-game. I just think they're gonna push the pace on the Clips.
Okay, OKC or Houston?
Houston.
So you got Houston versus Boston.
Yeah.
And Boston in how many games?
No, I'm going Houston winning. It's James Harden time.
Oh, Houston winning the finals?
Yep.
I mean, it's realistic.
I know it is, bro.
That much, but they're not winning the finals.
I believe it. I'm rocking with, bro. It's James Harden's year, bro. I'm sorry. He deserves it. He need one.
He do need one. That don't mean he gonna get one.
Bro,
the pedophile up in Utah back in the 90s needed one. He didn't get one.
Okay. He didn't need one. Harden needs one. Have you seen Harden working out, bro? He looks like a basketball prophet, bro. He's coming
like
to get a ring.
Mayo right now.
That's a good thing.
Man.
Come on, bro. Free OJ. Free OJ. OJ needs to be back in the league.
Nah, bro. He blackballed himself, bro.
Yeah. Well,
I miss OJ. I ain't even gonna lie to you. OJ Mayo.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I still got my 32 OJ Grizzlies jersey in the closet.
I can't fit it. I was like 8 when I had them.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. OJ Mayo in Memphis, bro, that was one of my favorite teams. Bro, that 2010 team, him, Tony Allen, Mike, Zebo, and Mark.
Hey,
exactly.
That team should have instigated one more run.
Exactly.
Another story. Yeah.
Still Grizz Nation, bro. But anyway, since we talked about, NBA coming back, got into the NBA, what the NBA playoffs gonna look like, let's flip the script over to the NFL and let's talk about which AFC East team is gonna win the division this year and make it to the playoffs. So we're gonna start out this preview with the Jets. So last season, Adam Gates' first year in New York, things could not have gone worse. They signed a lot of big money free agents in Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley, but however, the injury bug hit him pretty bad. The tight end missed all but one game, Chris Herndon. Avery Williamson, their starting linebacker, towards ACL in the preseason. And big money free agent C.J. Mosley only appeared in 2 games. And then to add on top of that, Sam Darnold missed 5 games with mono, which is pretty tough, I'm not going to lie. And so they ended up finishing the season 7-9, started out 2-8, and they had 2 really bad losses to a 0-9 Miami team and a 0-12 Cincinnati team. And so coming into 2020, I feel like a lot of their success is going to depend on Sam Darnold, really. because they lost a lot. Well, they didn't lose a lot, but they lost their biggest weapon on offense in Robbie Anderson, and then they didn't really do much to replace him. So right now you're looking at the offense that's headed by Sam Darnold, Le'Veon Bell, and Rashad Perryman, maybe. Not a really good top receiver to have, but that's what the Jets are looking at. But what I will say is the Jets did a great job this offseason in terms of rebuilding their O line, as basically they signed and drafted a whole new starting five along the O line. Because last season they gave up 52 sacks, and the Jets were second worst in the league in terms of rush yards. So what do you think about the Jets this upcoming season?
Uh, I'm not impressed by their roster at all.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at the schedule, it might be the hardest schedule in the NFL. And Sam Darnold, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know anything about him, honestly. Like, I don't even know, what would his Madden rating be? What would you rate Sam Darnold on Madden?
Oh, that's a good. I'd probably give him 7. A 75, 80. Like, that's the range I put him in.
I mean, all right, so I'm about to read down the schedule, bro. Yeah. I'm not saying they can't win any of these games, but a lot of these games are like, I don't think they can do it. So you got at Buffalo versus the 49ers, at the Colts versus the Broncos versus the Cardinals, at the Chargers, Buffalo again, at Kansas City. They got New England at home, at the Dolphins. Then the Dolphins in a back-to-back 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
Then they play the Raiders. Then go to Seattle. Then go to the Rams. And then they got to play the Browns and the Patriots to close it out. I got them going 2-14, beating the Dolphins and Pats just because they played it 2 times in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, the roster doesn't improve offensively. I mean, maybe Le'Veon Bell finds a fountain of youth. He turns back the clock, gets some 1,500 yards, and they go 8-8. I don't see that happening. I think he gets 1,200 yards, and they go 2-4.
I was about to say, like, I think Le'Veon will do a lot better this year, especially, considering last year Adam Gase was like, I didn't want him. I didn't want to spend that much money on him. All of that type of talk. But in my opinion, 3 years ago, Le'Veon was a top 5 back in the league. So I think he's most definitely going to shake back this season and get right. And Adam Gase is going to have no choice but to give him the ball. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I got the Jets going 5-11. And a lot of that is just like, what are they going to do on offense? I like what they did in terms of drafting the O-line, like I said, drafting and picking up O-line, but they just don't have the playmakers to win games on offense. Because you talk about them playing the 49ers, the Cardinals, the Chiefs, the Seahawks. These games are going to be shootouts. And I don't think the Jets are anywhere close to having the offense to compete with those teams, let alone having a premier defense to stop these teams from scoring. So I think the Jets season could be real ugly. I gave them 5 wins. You gave them 2. Either way, they're going to have a losing record this year.
Yeah.
So moving on, I think this is one of the teams that did a lot to improve themselves coming into 2020, and that's the Miami Dolphins. And so I will say, the Dolphins have been the laughing stock of the league for a little minute, and I think this year they're going to have a big jump considering the offseason moves they made and what Brian Flores was able to do at the end of last season. And so, last season, the Dolphins, they ship off a lot of talent for draft picks. They trade Larry Tunsil and Kenny Stills to the Texans for some picks, send Kenyon Drake to Arizona for some picks, and they send Minkah Fitzpatrick to Pittsburgh for some picks. And so they basically cut away all that talent, and they still end up going 5-11, winning 5 of their last 9 with Ryan Fitzpatrick as the head. And over those last 5 games, they beat New England in Week 17, and they beat Philadelphia, which was a pretty good game to where you see a kicker throw a pass to a punter, which is pretty exciting. And so anyway, talking about, the Dolphins season, they were last in the NFL in rushing yards last year. And You know what? I'll give you $5. You can tell me who that leading rusher was last year. I got $5 for you. You can tell me who the Dolphins' leading rusher was.
The leading rusher, Preston Laird.
Nah. Good try though. You
Hold
got the.
on.
You picked the right demographic. You picked the right demographic.
Was it a running back?
Nah.
Was it Fitzpatrick?
Bro, yes, bro. Last season, the leading rusher was Ryan Fitzpatrick with 243 yards. Let that sink in, bro. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the team's leading rusher. But anyway, coming into 2020, they addressed the running back situation. They traded for Matt Breida on draft day, picked up Jordan Howard in free agency, and they added a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Drafting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, drafting offensive tackle Austin Jackson, and revamping the defense by bringing in Shaq Lawson, Brian Jones, and Emmanuel Ogbah to shore up that defense. So what's your outlook on their 2020 season?
I think they're a much improved team, but just like the Jets, I mean, they're just playing a hard schedule. Like having to play the AFC and NFC West.
Yeah.
That's a compliment, bro. And I mean, I think they're a better team than last year. They went 5-11, but I honestly have them going 12 this season.
Yeah.
Like I mean, record-wise, they're worse. But I mean, then again, who do you have starting week one?
Week one, I really think if Tua's healthy, like 110% healthy, like no chance of re-injury, you know, he's just good to go. I think Tua starts week one because you're not gonna tell me that going into a training camp that Josh Rosen or Fitzpatrick is gonna beat out Tua. I just don't see it.
I mean, I don't either, but that changes my outlook. They probably go like 8-8 instead of 4-12, but I just don't. I think they're gonna take their time getting him back acclimated.
Yeah.
And like football.
That's what I was about to say. Like honestly, that's what I hope they would do, and you know, just like not protect him, but just make sure he's like just not throw him out in the fire week one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I will say that like learning from a guy like Fitzpatrick is a good thing for Tua. Even though, you know, Fitzpatrick hasn't had the career success, he's been around the league long enough to be like, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do to take care of your body, like that kind of thing. And so I got him going 6-10, 1 win better than last year. And that's just because, like, I just like all the young talent they're getting. And, like, for once, like, there's something to be excited for in Miami when it comes to football. Yeah. And I also think that you got Brian Flores as your head coach, was a semi-defensive coordinator in New England. You give him 2 lockdown corners to play with and a vastly improved front seven. I think that they could have one of the best pass defenses in the NFL this upcoming season. Just from the combination of Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. And then that front four is scary. You got Shaq Lawson, Emmanuel Ogbah, Christian Wilkins. Like, you know, that's a scary matchup. And so, like I said, I got them going 6-10. Of course, you know, they gonna lose those tough games against the 49ers. I got them losing to the Chiefs. They gonna lose like games like that. But I think they could really sneak up on some teams and get some wins.
I mean, it's one of them things where if you know you're a team that's like young or whatever, I think running the football is an option that some teams should have. For the fact of, you know, keep the game close, and once it's like winning time, I mean, anybody can win, and once it's like the fourth quarter, it's anybody's ball game. Like 1 or 2 plays to turn the game around. But I'm gonna just give them 4-12.
Yeah, I mean, like that's still reasonable because they're a young team.
Yeah.
And then, you know, while we're talking about the Dolphins, you can't forget that man Devontae Parker is on the roster. 1,200 yards last year. Better than Mike Thomas? I'm not going to answer that question.
Bro, stop. Stop.
All right. I'm sorry, but I had to say it, bro. I just had to bring it up.
Stop.
So, anyway, moving to a team that could use a talent like Devontae Parker, the New England Patriots, man. So talking about the Patriots, last year, number one defense in the NFL, only allowed 20 touchdowns and caused 36 turnovers. That's an elite group of talent. But the offense struggled. You can call it a lack of skill players, a fall off of quarterback play, however you want to frame it. The offense just really struggled, especially in those last 8 games where they played teams that could, could light up the scoreboard like the Chiefs, Ravens, and Texans. And so coming into the off season, it seems like that the Patriots are going to roll with Jared Stidham as their starter, but they've lost talent on both sides of the ball that is very significant. Starting out with, obviously quarterback Tom Brady leaving for Tampa Bay. You lose a lot of talent to the Lions and the Dolphins just because two former, New England coaches. But I think the biggest loss they have is losing outside linebacker Jamie Collins, who led the team in tackles and tackles for losses and was a Swiss Army knife for the Patriots. So, first of all, I want to ask you, do you think last season was more about the lack of skill position players around Tom Brady or the decreasing production of Tom Brady?
I think last year's, it was a lack of success because of the Patriots, but they still made the playoffs. I think last year it was because of Tom Brady's decline, but that wasn't his fault. People were just expecting Tom Brady to still be Tom Brady, the mastermind, offensive guru, which he was. It was. They literally ran into a buzzsaw last year. They would have lost to either the Chiefs or the Titans, but the Titans stopped the run. It's just like the clock is just gonna eat up, and you gotta play catch up. And Tom Brady couldn't play his game. They threw him off his game. But then again, it's just like, what help did he have?
You have Julian Edelman, he's not a top receiver in the league, but he's one of the top production receivers in the league in terms of, just winning those short routes, getting open. And then outside of him, you got a nice running back core in Sony Michel and James White. But, like you said, a lack of talent outside of that. They didn't have the tight end threat that Tom Brady was used to. Rick receiving N'Keal Harry missed a lot of time early in the season, so he never really got acclimated. And then you trade for Mohamed Sanu, and he has a really bad ankle sprain and never really gets 100%. So I agree, there was a lack of talent around him, but I also agree with you in terms of, Tom Brady's play worsened. He had he had the second worst completion percentage of his career, and he had his worst output in terms of passing yardage since 2010. And I think that falls more on the quarterback than the rest of the team. But anyway, what is your outlook for this Patriots team in 2020?
So going into the season, George Stidham is supposedly supposed to be the new QB1 for the New England Patriots for the first time in 20 years, literally.
Yeah. The last time another quarterback started was 2006 when Brady tore his ACL and Matt Castle saved the day.
Yeah.
For a whole season.
Do you think Stidham is better than Brady, just talent-wise, or just as good? Just talent, not mindset, not ball control, just talent.
I think Stidham brings he's sneaky athletic, you know what I'm saying? So you can see some kind of quarterback run game coming into play. But no, I don't think Tom Brady's the greatest ever do it. Of course, Jared Stidham is not gonna compare. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. Let's get that out of the way. So he's going to figure out a way to win games for the Patriots, just off the strength of him being able to outcoach other teams.
And I was about to say, remember 2016? Brady missed the first 4 games, and Garoppolo started 3. Jacoby Brissett started 1, and they went 3-1, beating Arizona, Miami, and Houston. So anything is possible, especially with Bill Belichick.
I'm gonna give them 7-9. 7-9, maybe 8-8 as a toss-up. Been there, but I'm gonna give them 7-9 just because the defense is still, it's not gonna be one of them defenses where we was questioning if it was the greatest of all time like last year. Yeah. But it's gonna be a solid top 10 defense once again. Offense is going to be able to ball control. They still need more weapons.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I said, like, the key for the Patriots in 2020 is going to be the ground game, defense, and special teams. Because, especially defense and special teams, Bill Belichick thrives in that area. But like I said, losing Jamie Collins is going to hurt. But I think they brought in some good talent through the draft in terms of just, not revamping, but trying to keep that defense stable. You get linebacker Josh Uche out of Michigan and Anthony Jennings from Alabama, two versatile guys who can line up across the formation. So I think, that's key for them. But on offense, like I said, I just think they're going to rely on that ground game. They drafted 2 tight ends, Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene in this year's draft. So I think they're going to get back to, that power run game, a lot of, play action type stuff, just to, like you said, eat up that clock and try to, keep games close. And so I got them going 6-10, but I could see them even going 8-8, just, how the ball falls or whatever. And so, but however, I will say they do have a very tough stretch on the schedule where they play, weeks 10 through 12, where they play the Ravens, Texans, and Cardinals in back-to-back weeks. So, of course, I talked all 3 of those up as losses, but, anything is possible when you're talking about Bill Belichick. And so, moving on, last team in the AFC East. I think this team most definitely they made small moves, but I think they made the right moves in order to put themselves in a position to win the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills. And so last year, Josh Allen's second year in Buffalo improved vastly. The team made the playoffs. They had the second best defense in the NFL, allowing 16.2 points per game. And they have a good group of young talent, good defensive coach in Sean McDermott. So what do you think? What do you think about the Bills in 2020?
The Bills is gonna be. They're my dark horse to get to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I agree with it.
I like the team as a whole. I love that team, bro. So I'm a Josh Allen fan. I really like. I believe in Josh Allen. And so you got a good quarterback. I'm a believer, bro. I like Josh Allen.
I like him too. He reminds me of Cam. He's not as good as Cam, but he reminds me of Cam. The only thing that concerns me with Josh Allen is just he can't complete passes. The man had the worst completion percentage in the NFL last year for the second year in a row.
But he went.
I agree with that.
Who was he throwing to last year?
John Brown and Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox. John Brown had a rack. Cole Beasley had 800.
Exactly. So he did what he did with those two. So how much can you really just hate on him though?
I'm not hating on him. I'm just I'm providing you the facts. No cap. You know what I'm saying? I also want to throw this at you. The Bills are 5-9 in games where Josh Allen attempts 30+ passes.
Where he throws 30+ passes?
Yeah. That's a lot of passes.
Bro, speaking of passes, last week you was some teams throwing the teams.
Yeah.
The lowest team was the Titans at 29.
They throw 29 a game?
But anyways, yeah. That was the lowest team.
I wouldn't think that.
All right, so Devin Singletary, he's a top 10 back. I think he is.
I like the way he plays.
Diggs is undoubtedly a top 15. Some people have him in the top 5. So Diggs,
I like Stephon. Yeah.
Dawson Knox is nice. The O-line is good. They upgraded. They got Quentin Spain.
Yeah.
That defense is pretty nasty, pretty solid.
Exactly, bro. Second best defense in the league.
It's really Tennessee Titan vibes like last year.
I was about to say, you got one lockdown corner in Tre'Davious White. You go and pick up Josh Norman. Does he become great again? You don't know, but I think that's a solid piece to put opposite Tre'Davious White.
I mean, 10-6. I'm gonna go 10-6 just because they're playing gauntlet. Like when playoff time comes and they just gotta beat one team once it goes game by game. I think they keep winning until they run into the Chiefs. I mean, that's just how I see it. Maybe the Ravens might beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But 10-6.
Yeah, I got them going 11-5. You know, in that same range. But I just have my big question with the Bills is just offense. Your defense is going to do enough to keep you in the game. Your offense has to be able to score points, not just field goals, but touchdowns. And that was their problem in the playoffs when they played the Texans. They go up 16-0, but they don't score another touchdown. They kick 4 straight field goals. You know, Houston comes back and wins in overtime because they're able to get into the end zone, unlike the Bills. And so I will say adding Stephon Diggs as that superstar wide receiver, you know, someone you can count on to get open no matter what. And so I think, you know, the offensive weapons of Diggs, the speedy John Brown, Cole Beasley in the slot, with Dawson Knox at tight end and Singletary in the backfield, and Josh Allen at quarterback, that offense has the potential to be scary, but it just falls on the lap of Josh Allen and him being able to complete passes at every level of the field. Because he has a big arm, but he, for some reason, struggles to complete the deep balls. So.
Yeah, but he's a winner. I like that. It's
I agree. He is a winner.
I mean, I get a Tim Tebow vibe from Josh Allen. He just wins games. I'm a fan.
He's better than Tebow.
I mean, it's debatable, bro.
No, Tebow won. What?
Bro, I love Tebow. Tebow should have been given another chance, bro. They just kicked him out, sent him to baseball, bro.
Bro, Tebow as a quarterback was garbage. He won one playoff game.
Winning.
What about the season after that? They won 5 games that year.
All right, bro. Anybody gonna take Peyton Manning over Tim Tebow?
Okay.
I mean,
but even when he went to New York, he was garbage.
Peyton Manning over Josh Allen, the Bills would do it.
Sure. I get it.
Exactly. So it just makes sense.
But all right, bro. I don't even. Peyton Manning is overrated, but
you said he's what?
Overrated, bro. 2 rings. 2 rings.
2 rings. I don't think he's overrated.
But is he in your top 3 all time?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. I was just making sure, bro, because some people be like Peyton the greatest ever done.
I mean, before we done, who is your top 3?
All right, bro. So my top 3 quarterbacks of all time. Brady number 1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Joe Montana number 2. And number 3 gonna be tough. Number 3, I'm gonna go with
we go greatest career, not just like talent, just greatest career.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna go Marino. I think I'm gonna go Marino at number 3.
I mean, 3 is where anybody can play it, whoever they really like.
Yeah.
I mean, the top 2, Brady, Montana, that's whatever. 3, I'm gonna go. 3. I'm gonna go. I don't know why he's not a top 3 quarterback. Never mind. I was about to say something stupid, but I don't want to get.
Mike Vick.
I mean, no, why not, bro? But I was about to say Terry Bradshaw and get crucified, but nah, bro.
Ew.
Yeah, bro. We just gonna get the episode on that.
Bro, come on, bro. Terry Bradshaw can't even spell a cat, bro. He don't deserve to be in the top 3.
It don't matter. He was winning. You can't hate on him.
Yeah, you're right, bro. He dumb as a brick, but he was winning.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our episode for this week. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Make sure y'all stay safe out here. And make sure, please, 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 subscribe to our channel. And make sure, with everything going on, everybody's voice is important. So make sure you say something. If you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything. So y'all be safe this week and have a good one. We out of here.
Okay.